Hey guys, how's it going? This is Jacqueline, the unemployed homemaker, and today let's talk about uncooperation. How do you serve someone who doesn't want it? Like maybe your husband is exasperated with you trying to submit to him. You are changing up the norm and it's a bit annoying. He's tired and uncooperative about leading you. Maybe he thinks he'll lead some stuff and leave most everything else up to you, but you are trying to practice complete submission to everything. He may even try to say, I'm giving you permission to do the leading, but you know that that is not permissible by God. I am to be his helpmeet, but he doesn't want the help. It almost feels like he's thwarting your practice of obedience on purpose. That's how I felt. I mean, I examined my motives. I'm not doing this so my life will go well. I'm not serving to make sure I keep the peace. I'm serving and helping and submitting and obeying because my Lord created me for this purpose. One day, while I was talking to my husband, I guess let me start off by setting the scene. It was early morning. His coffee was in front of him. He slept 45 minutes past his alarm. I reminded him, quietly, I promise, 2 times, that it was after a certain time. I casually mentioned that he had promised to look in the shed for my waffle iron, to which he replied, You just want to work me to death. I was a bit taken aback since I asked him to do it yesterday, and it's my job to cook food for our family, and not having access to my tool was hindering me. He didn't get it yesterday, and I asked if he could check before he left for work this morning, and he's been late for work most days recently because he doesn't wake up, and I wanted to make sure he had time to check real quick, and it really was real quick. The shed is mostly empty, but he found a snake in there a few weeks back, so I am not going in there by myself. Anyway, I just turned and walked away. He got up, immediately went outside to check for the waffle iron, which was a surprise to me. See, I know he likes to wake up gradually and sit in his chair and drink his coffee while he and I chat a bit before he gets stressed. It's our way. We always do it this way. I had zero expectations for him to immediately go searching without even getting dressed or having his coffee. I distinctly remember making sure to not insist it was super important. So when he came back inside, I took a risk, wanting to attempt something I experienced with our daughter, who wanted a bit of direction on how to be honorable to her parents as the Lord commanded her. And I wanted to help her be what the Lord has called her to be. So we spent a few minutes talking. I have a video about this coming up in the future. I'm always seeking to be helpful, and I see that her heart is growing in the same desire. Anyway, I said, Honey, you seem like you're getting really stressed, and I was wondering if there was anything I could do to make your life flow better or help you it. You already know his response. Complaints about me, how I was getting on his nerves, how I expect him to work himself to death, how I this and how I that. I opened my mouth to say that he was misunderstanding me, but the second my lips parted, he said, See, this, I can't even express myself without you, blah, blah, blah. Right again to say, I asked how I could help. And if he'd like me to not ask him to do a job for our family first thing, I can do that. It's not a problem. And anyway, yesterday, all I said was, Good morning, Boopy. And you said, Shut up, which was mean. Okay, I did say it. I didn't just say, Good morning, Boopy. I said it like this. Good morning, Boopy. I'm sorry. I know that can be annoying first thing in the morning. So I did apologize. But anyway, you were being mean. And he said, looks how I sound like an 11-year-old. And he said, anyway, I said, So this is why I would like to help make your life a little bit better so you can be happy. To which he replied, No, what can I do for you? What can I do to make you happy? You need help. How can I help you? It's sarcasm in case you didn't pick up on it, but I did. You see, I think my husband, in his anger and frustration, lays little traps for me to fall into. Maybe it's the influence of the evil one, as we are all susceptible to this, but I immediately recognized it for what it was, a subtle invitation for us to reverse our roles in our marriage, where I make demands and he jumps through hoops to help me and make me happy. So I calmly said, I'm your helper. I'm here to help you. I have no needs. And I walked off. and we didn't talk anymore, and he left for work. Why am I airing all of this silliness, you ask? I took you through this whole thing to make a point. My question is this: do circumstances matter? The road that led to the conflict, is it important? At what point should the details become irrelevant, especially if your motives are wrongly misjudged and misunderstood? I am what I am by the grace of God, and woe is me if I don't do as He commanded me. So, will I let people stop me from doing what I am instructed to do? Are all bets off because they will make it hard for me or forget that I have a mandate on my life to be a wife, to be a helper? Apostle Paul spent much time defending his apostleship to people he had already proven himself to. In 2 Corinthians 3, he asked if they needed to commend themselves again to the people. Such is the confidence we have toward God through Christ. Not that we are adequate of ourselves, so as to consider as having come from ourselves, but our adequacy is from God, who has made us adequate as servants of a new covenant, not of the letter, but of the Spirit, for the letter kills, but the Spirit gives life. Now, of course, the apostleship is infinitely more valuable than earthly marriage and its roles, but the same sentiment applies, loosely, of course. What I mean is, do I constantly need to commend my helpmeet responsibilities to my husband? Do he need special epistles of commendation delivered to him? I am a wife, his rib, and I too have been made adequate for the task of being a submissive, obedient helpmeet. Not an adequacy of myself, especially since I seem to do so poorly at it, but from God, who has made me adequate, not to the letter, but of the Spirit, who will give life to my mortal body, who made me able to set my mind on things above, the Spirit Himself testifying with my spirit that I am a child of God. And like Christ, I must work the work of Him who has sent me. I was made to serve, called to serve. I like serving, and yet I feel hindered from doing what I am supposed to be doing. At some point, it no longer matters the problems of marriage that I will experience, for I consider that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory that is to be revealed to me. This overarching truth reaches past the earthly task of being a helpmeet. It is an eternal reality that all who love Him keep His commandments, and that goes on as we live here, not for ourselves, but Christ who lives in us. I am not a minister out in the world. I am just a wife and a mother, and this is my mission field. My sufferings may come from within my own house, from the people I love the most, and yet it is the very thing the Lord will use to conform me to Christ, which is what this whole life is about, right? If it's only about marriage, good marriage, happy marriage, that is such a vain thing to waste life on, in my opinion. And the Lord is not in the business of being casual about sanctification. So there are heavenly, eternal realities built into every single altercation, every affliction, every tear. And it's important that we see that, to count it all joy when we experience our trials. So I repeat, how do you serve someone who doesn't want it, who is not interested in cooperating with the Spirit? Not necessarily how I think they ought to, just regular cooperation, like not preventing me from doing as I ought to do. I think if someone doesn't know or doesn't care that they are hindering you from serving the Lord, we are to take a lesson from Galatians 6, which says, "Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such a one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted. Bear ye one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ." A husband's failing, his faults, are no means an opportunity for wives to cast them aside and our service to the Lord aside. But we who are spiritual, we are to see they are overtaken in a fault and restore them in a spirit of meekness, considering ourselves, lest we be tempted. It goes on to say, "But let every man prove his own work, and then he shall have rejoicing in himself alone and not in another." Meaning, you keep doing your work, despite the pushback, despite the hardships, despite the afflictions and tears, and you prove your own work, the work of obedience, the work of subjection and submission, the work of being a help to your Nabal, and you can rejoice in yourself alone. That despite the problems, you are continually striving to walk worthy of the one who called you. And let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. So, as long as we have opportunity, let us do good unto all men, including our husbands, and conduct ourselves in a manner worthy of the gospel of Christ. What about you? Do you turn to the Lord for help to keep pressing on, refusing to throw in the towel, determined to try again next time and next time and next time? Or do you shrink back from the call, nursing your wounds and wallowing in self pity like I was fond of doing? Let me know down below in the comments section. That's it for today, guys. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time.